Alrighty, hello everyone, busygamerdad back again. Going to be doing a special Let's Play session gameplay series on the game that we've been playing on our live stream. And if you're not aware, we live stream every Friday, if I'm not too busy, to have some fun for about 3-4 hours, Eastern Standard Time, 9 to about 11 or noon. This game, MTG Forge, many people have stopped by the stream and said, what is this game? What's going on with this? This isn't Magic. This is Magic the Gathering Forged, that is a fan-made game that you have all the cards from alpha all the way up to the current set. And I mean that, like current set. Like they have the Hobbit, which is at the time of release of this video is the major set that's on the market right now, but they've got the Final Fantasy set, they've got the Innistrad set, they've got the Mysteries of Strixhaven, they've got MTG core sets up to 14 to 25 and all that other stuff. And you have infinite combos, you have every single card in the Magic the Gathering universe and catalog available to you to make decks from. Now, where does this game get its play style from? Well, so basically you can create a deck. You pick 2 colors at the beginning of the game, and then you have a subset, a low Dimir deck or something like that, or any of the other 2-color decks, and you build a deck from winning against other NPC components. Or opponents, and that's what you see on the map here. So if I zoom out a little bit, you see that we have a couple of people, and if I run into them, I will get into combat. The next thing that you have in this game that's a really fun draw is every city has shops that you can go into. You have gold, you have gems, and you can go into each of these shops, each of the biomes, and you can buy cards that you're looking for to fill out your deck or make certain decks that you want to make. And the cool thing about this game as well is in every city you have an inn and you have a tavern, basically. And in the tavern, we have quests. I've already picked up the one from here, so they're just saying, like, hey, go do the thing I told you to, and they give you quests. And in those quests, you have a thing where you have to go do things, slay some specific monster, go clear out a certain dungeon, and then come back and get a reward. And that increases your reputation for that city, in which will then reduce the cost of the cards that you have in the shops. And the inverse can happen, where if you fail a quest, that city doesn't like you, and you lose reputation. So this can go negative, and cards cost more expensive, and things like that. And in each one of the biomes, there is a major city. There's a major blue capital, there's a major red capital, black, all that stuff. And you go to them, and inside there are arenas that you can fight and get equipment, because your character can wear equipment to increase their health and augment their play style. And then also inside each of the biomes are castles. So this is the black biome, for instance, here. This is the black castle. Likewise, up here in the blue biome where we are currently, this is the blue central city. And then if I look right here, looks like the black castle, or the blue castle's right up here. Now, I talked about equipment, and inside the game you have all these pieces of equipment that you can kit your character out with, and they do different things, such as give you flat health increase overall for your health to go above 20, which is the earmark normal, but I think they start you out at 15. Then you also have these slots that you can put in for your equipment on your left and right hand, and there are two-handed things, and these dramatically change how you play. So again, one of those things that you have, like if you make a goblin deck and you get the War Intender's Baton, which gives you that ability to play 2 and a red and sack a goblin to create 3 1/1 goblin tokens. That's pretty big for a goblin deck. Likewise, they have like ones that are just simple, like Bronze Sword, and this one's an axe, I think. Yep, exactly. Again, spelling. This is a fan-made game. They do the best they can, but it's a lot of fun, and it's free. So I'll have a link for you, the game, should you want to try it out for yourselves. But that's going to be the focus of our session gameplay this week. We're going to be taking a look at the game here, showing you in this canned format. And if you are new to the Busy Gamer Dad channel, hit that subscribe button and try and join us on Fridays. We stream, for, like I said, Eastern Standard Time every Friday, 9 to 11. We'll be continuing to play our game for here. Now, as I was saying before, we started off with this blue-black deck. If you don't know what that is, Dimir is a blue-black deck. But I have made several other decks. So I have a red-blue deck, I have a goblin deck, I have a sliver deck, I have a life gain deck, squirrel deck, counterspell deck. You can, as you play the game, you have access to create various decks based on the cards that you have available and functions that you can get to work. It's fun. It's magic. You have the ability to grind in a certain. If you are a red-white player, go to the red biome, go to the white biome, fight monsters there, go do quests there, and you will naturally get red and white cards for the Boros, I believe. If you like red and green, go to the red and green areas, and then you get Gruul, I believe that is. If you're blue and red, then it's Demir, or not Demir, I'm sorry, Prismari. So, yeah, you have access to any and all cards through all the sets, and you can kind of see here. Many of these I don't know because I've just recently started to get back into Magic the Gathering, so I'm not quite sure about the meta of anything, but there are cards that just have nutty combinations and nutty things that you can make happen. So definitely encourage you guys to try this game out, play it out for yourselves. And like I said, it's free. Buyer beware, have antivirus on your system and make sure you're going through vetted sources and things like that to try and find the game, as a cautionary tale, because the internet is a not safe place. But I do encourage you to take a look for this game if you are at all interested in playing Magic the Gathering in a single player format, in a single player mode. Again, that's up to you and how you want to handle it. Currently, we are on a quest. I don't have a deck equipped, so I'm going to try and equip a deck. I really am trying to work on this counterspell deck to try and make it work for me and to get better at the game and the counterspell, because I like red, I like blue, I like the Prismari colors. But I also understand that I have, some learning to do in that way. So the game starts off like this. So we're going up against this guy. I have lost to this guy 3 times, and I have not yet beat him. So we'll see if we can beat him here today. And in this video, we won the coin toss, so we will play. We have 3 land. Most of my decks operate on 3 land. The Goblin deck would maybe be the major exception to that, because that's a low cost kind of deck. I will keep this because I do enjoy what I have. I'm gonna play my blue source, and then I'm gonna end turn because I can't do anything. Now you'll see something that just happened here. This Teferi's staff. The equipment in this game breaks the standard rules in the game. The equipment allows you to have cards that augment the initial play style or the initial board state. And Teferi's staff lets me untap a land or an artifact at the end step of my turn, which is super powerful, super crazy. So just keep that in mind. And then if we had a white-blue source and I could pay 2 crystals, I could phase out a card if I really wanted to. Again, really good if you have cards that enter in the battlefield. They trigger ETBs. So yeah, he's playing blue. That's understandable. He's probably going to drop a creature. He usually does. Can't be blocked, so that's a bit annoying. That is a bit annoying. We will drop you down, and we will wait. I can probably counterspell. We're going to get hit for 1. And he's choosing to drop another one. I'm going to hold off on the counter spells just because I know what's coming. I've seen and fought this guy before, so I'm not really in a hurry to make anything happen with that. I do potentially want to get... I will tap myself out if I do anything. So let's bring out you as a blocker. Again, we can't block. I understand we can't block, but it's a flyer that increases the more I cast my spells. So I'm gonna, be aware of that. He's got a 2/2 that increases the merfolks, and whenever you cast a merfolk spell, you may tap or untap a permanent. That's pretty good for him. That's pretty good for him. All right, so our turn. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna zap that. I think that's what I want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna actually do 2 damage to that. Right there. Get that off the board so that he doesn't have that utility, and then I can actually swing at him for 1 with my creature, and I'm going to do that with my Enigma Drake now, and then I'm going to end step. I'm going to untap my second blue source so I have access to a counter spell, because knowing him, he's probably going to drop something. Let's hear aquatic. When this enters battlefield, creates tokens. Do I want to counterspell this? I think I do. Yes, we will do that right there. All right, so we have access there. A bit unfortunate. Let's do this. I know that doesn't necessarily sound right, but I need to, fix my deck. All right, so we have 3. So Arcane Infusion allows us to look at the top 4, and then we can reveal an instant or sorcery from them and put them into our hand, and then we put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So I'm probably going to, okay, looking at the cards in my library, pick the one that I want. So Index is a sorcery. It allows me to look at the top 5 and then put them back in any order. Brainstorm lets me draw 3 and then put 3 in the top of my library. And then there's the counterspell. I am thinking that I want to keep the counterspell at my fingertips, so I'm going to do that. I will select this one to put into my hand, and then I will click OK, and the other 2 go to the bottom of the library. Right there. Okay, and now I have 3. This guy increases with the sorceries and instances in my graveyard, so I will Alpha Strike, which is attacking. Right there. Good. End turn, and I will untap my second. Right there. Good. Okay, so he's going to swing at me. He's choosing not to cast a spell, which is smart. The AI is usually pretty smart. Usually. We have another one here. I do not like where this is going. I do need a land source. I have about 15% land in this deck. I should say, not 15%, I'm sorry. 15 to 16 land in this deck. So that, because it's a 45 card deck, is a 33% chance. I'm not trying to bore you with math. It's a third. Every third card I should be drawing land, and this has not happened yet. So it's like, well, son of a gun. What do I want to do here? Everything costs 3, so if I were to cast something, I would not be able to cast my counterspell. Not ideal. So I will actually not cast anything. I will instead swing at him for 3. We will win this race. So there he is. He's flashing, and this is flying. So I will counter target creature spell with exclude. Pay everything, and I get to draw a card, a land, which is great, and then I will be able to swing at him for now 4, because that was an instance in sorcery, and then at the second main phase, I can drop a land. This game follows very strict, you can do this in this main phase, before combat, during combat, or declare attackers, declare blockers. You know, this game follows the very strict standard rule set. So be aware that you're not going to be able to drop lands whenever you want. You're not going to be able to do certain mechanics that you might do at your local card shop, because they are a little less strict about the integrity of the rules in the nicest way possible. All right, so we're going to end turn. We're going to untap our second blue source, so we have access to our counter spell. So he's going to untap. He's going to swing at me for another 2. He's going to do this. Do I want to counterspell that? Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. I feel like there's going to be better ones to counterspell. But I think we win. We actually win right now. Because I will attack with my creature. And he can't block. Right there. He does have access to a counterspell. So I'm going to select the target. I'm going to counterspell. I'm going to hit him. I'll pay the cost. Right there. And we won. First time. I've fought that guy 3 separate other times, and I've lost every single time with the merfolk. So something to be said about the tribes, the creature decks. If you pick a merfolk deck, a goblin deck, an elf deck, a zombie deck, a vampire deck, a X creature deck, those are traditionally, and I say air quotes, traditionally stronger overall, because you have a lot of utility from those creatures to build strength. So definitely, if you're looking to get back into Magic, that's a really good place to start. A number of these cards that I'm going to flag to be sold are just ones that I'm like, all right, I don't really need these. I don't really care for these. These aren't going to be ones that I really build decks around. But for the most part, you're going to want to hold on to a lot of the different cards. Now, I'm going to go into Focus Mind. I am going to look for these wizards. I have to find these wizards. This is an element. I think that's a wizard out there, actually. So I'm going to try and get over to him. But first, I'm going to take on this Merfolk Avatar. Let's see what we can do about this guy. We have 3 land in hand, which is great. One of them is a tap land, which is fine. We did not win the coin flip, so we go second. They play a tap land. That's okay. So I will do our tap land, and I will end turn. And that's untap there. He's got 2. He's red, or he's green, blue. What do we got here? Jet Collector. At the beginning of post-combat phase, if 4 or more cards are in your graveyard, conjure a card named Mox Jet onto the battlefield. Trigger only once. But this is a black source. Is he playing black as well? He's doing 3 colors? Or maybe he's getting... Oh, that's the Jet. Okay, Mox Jet. Okay, that's where that comes from. Gotcha. All right, let's drop our second blue source. Yes, I want to drop our second blue source so we have access to the counter spell. All right, we'll end turn. We'll just keep that one untapped. He's going to hit me for 2. Unfortunately, I can't do much about it. Enchantment. When 1 or more non-token merfolks you control become... This needs to get destroyed, so we will counterspell that. Right there. All right, now we have a red source coming out. What do I want to do here? Well, I can bring out this, knowing that he could potentially have removal for it, and then we won't have access to our counter spells. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, just to have some creature on the board. We will end turn. We'll untap our red source. And he's choosing not to attack, which is good, because this would, we could chump block is the term, to, trade, swing in, trade it out. There's our good land. That's awesome for us. Now we do have access to several options that I am not certain how I want to play out. Our long shot Rebel Bowman from the Avatar series. This is a really powerful card for our deck because it helps every time we cast an instant or sorcery. Doesn't matter if it's our turn or not. We can inflict 2 damage to the opponent, which is great. And then it also reduces the casting cost of spells, which is really helpful. The challenge thereof is when I cast this, I will not be able to cast any counter spells. So I think what I first want to do is drop him down, even though it's going to, and then let it go, let the turn go. Because this creature, the Voice of Duality, if you cast an instant, or if you are casting a instant or sorcery and it triggers an ability, it triggers it 1 more time. So that's where the synergy for our deck comes into play, because now every time I cast an instant or sorcery, this guy now does 4 damage as opposed to 2 for every single time, and that's direct damage, unblockable, to the enemy opponent. All right, so we'll end turn. Let us untap our black source, or I'm sorry, our red source here, just to have that untapped. Oh, this guy. Yes, I've seen this Deep-Root Elite. Whenever another merfolk enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on target merfolks. That's really good for him to ramp. That's really good for him to have, and that's really bad for me. So, a bit unfortunate. We will hold off on casting our Enigma Drake, because I want to have access to our counter spells and various other things. What I can do, though, is I can attack with my 3/3, but he can band together, and that creates a problem. So I'm actually not going to. I will end turn, and we'll wait a little bit of a holding. Ah, here we go. This is perfect for us. So from here, I will counterspell this, and it should only cost 2 blue. Is that really what I want to do right now? I think that is. I would rather draw a card, though. Yeah, let's block the creature spell, because this is a more specific cast. This, we have to counter a creature spell, exclude targets only creature spells. This targets any spell at all. Instants, sorceries, enchantments, and creature spells. So I'd rather do that. And let's cast it with 1 and 2, and then this is the resolve order, this little window here, and it tells you everything. So you have the Magecraft, and then this is the long shot Bowman as well, and then it will always do this order. So that gets pumped up twice because of its own effect, 1 and 2. So now that's a 4/4, and then he takes 4 damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then because of exclude, he doesn't get the creature, and we draw a card. This game is really helpful for those looking to relearn Magic, and this game is very intuitive for those who are returning to Magic. Now we have a fun decision to make. This guy is the same thing as our long shot, only he does 1 damage. And if we cast something that has 5 or more mana, which would be like Echo of Aeons, it would do 3 damage instead. So I really want to get this guy out. And I think that's the appropriate thing to do. So we'll do a red source, and we'll do one of our islands right there. Good. And then I will end turn. And then I will untap our blue source. Oh, so there we are. So this one here, if I counterspell this, let's see it right there. So that's going to counterspell that. We get to survey, and it has 2 islands. So 1, 2, just do that. And then all of this is happening. All of this. So the Magecraft is giving it +1/+1 twice. Then he's getting hit for 2. Then he's getting hit for another 2. Then he's getting hit for 1 more and 1 more. And then we hit OK. So in order, Magecraft happens. There, and then he gets hit for 2. Then he gets hit for 2. Then he gets hit for 1. And then he gets hit for 1. And we counterspell and survey. This is why I really like the red-blue deck that I have set up. The Marvelous Scientist, I do not know why the card art has not come in for this. They're usually pretty good about this, putting the card art in there. I just don't know why it doesn't exist. This again synergizes with our Voice of Duality. So where I cast that, he's going to be dead the next time I cast an instant regardless, but this is just overkill. Alright, so he has a choice to attack. He's not attacking. That's fine. So right here, we'll drop this. Yeah, I could kill him now, but I really want you guys to see the way we have this. So rather than doing cosplay, which whenever I cast a creature or planeswalker spell, this creature base value of power, which is your attack, and your toughness, which is your life, become equal to the mana cost spent. So this isn't really good for the deck setup that I have, but this one here is Science. Again, whenever I cast an instant or sorcery, this creature deals 2 damage to each opponent. Again, direct damage, unblockable. Right there. And then we choose to end turn. And then we will untap, say, our red source again. And then I'm not even going to let him do anything. I'm going to cast my instant right here. I'll auto pay for it. And everything that we just saw proc is going to happen again, or resolve is going to happen again. I'll just click the double arrow here. It will resolve it there. So this gets pumped up twice right there. And then he would take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. But he's only going to take 4. You can go negative if you attack them, and the attack has to resolve. I've seen it go up to, I've had my goblin deck pop off, and I got it up to like 80 or 90 damage. So it's quite nutty. All right, so I'm actually going to keep him. I'm actually going to keep this. And do I want to keep this? Whenever or is blocked. Untap target permanent. I like that, but I don't know how I would use that, so I'll just flag that one to being sold. I will hold on to the Deep-Root Elite in case I do a Merfolk deck. Alright, so now we're going to move out over here, and we're going to try and fight these wizards. These wazards. Come here, you. This is a wizard adept. This is an adept blue wizard. Our history is 1-1. We've won 1, they've won 1. Let's see if we can't keep it positive. And right out of the gate, we are not positive. That's a bit unfortunate. Only 1 land in hand, so I'm going to mulligan that out. 2 land in hand. They're not good. They're tap lands. We do have VV in hand. I will get rid of exclude on the bottom of the deck. We will click OK. We will keep this. All right. We got our counterspell. So that's fine, but unfortunately, just not good. Let's do the Scry land. Another one. Okay, so we'll top deck that. This is a bit unfortunate. We are a little bit slow with our land. He is choosing to cast Maddening Cacophony. He didn't kick it. Each player mills 8. Ooh, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. So we lost our land. What else? But that actually kind of helps us if we get an Enigma Drake. So less than ideal, but perfectly okay. We don't need to worry about that. Let's drop the other tap land there. It didn't matter which one I dropped ultimately. Alright, so now we have access to Counterspell, which we will more than likely need. Yep. Can't attack or block unless an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. That is terrible. So we do have 8 or more, so we are going to Counterspell that with Extreme Menace. Right there. Cool. So let's drop a tap land out and counter target non-creature spell unless opponents. I'm going to hold off on this. I will end turn, untap you. Okay, what do we got here? Sphinx Tutelage. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts 2 cards from his or her library into his or her graveyard. They are both non-land. They share a color. Repeat that process. That is terrible. We are going to counterspell that. Yes. He does not. That is a non-creature spell. So he can't do anything about that. So, yep, we're going to counterspell that. We're going to choose to tap our land. There. Good for us. Nice. All right, so this is where it's going to get a little dicey. If I bring out Vivi, he potentially has removal or bounce that's going to be pretty bad for us, and I don't really have a way around it. Unfortunately, I don't really have another play. I could wait for another land and counterspell target. I think that's what I'm going to do. But every time I cast an instant, Vivi loses out on that ramp. So I guess what I'll do is I will cast Vivi. And then we will end turn. We'll untap our dual land here. Okay, so he's choosing to do Surge Mare. Whenever it deals damage, that player may draw that. Okay, to an opponent. You may draw a card if you do discard a card. Okay. Alright, so how can I make this work? I can hit him for 2. He's taking 2 damage there. Vivi also has, he gets a +1/+1 counter and does 1 damage to each opponent. Now, I could do Brainstorm. I don't know if I want to do that yet. Actually, I do. So I will use Vivi to make a blue source, and I will cast Brainstorm. And then he gets ramped up. Yep. There, and then we can look at our cards. Now then put 2 cards from their hand to the top of the library. Let's get rid of this. Oh, there's a train coming through. Very boisterous train. I apologize. I'm going to hold on to this one because his deck seems to operate on milling mine. So I would really like to hold on to this one and not lose it. Let's go here and think about this. We'll get rid of you and then 2 cards. This one, I think, is what I want to do. Yes. Yes, we will put them on that, and then we'll have you go first and you go second right there. All right, so we do have a land. We'll drop a land there, so that allows us now we can cast our Sinister Sabotage, and that allows us to counterspell. I could attack, but he's gonna can't be blocked except by green creatures. He's just gonna chump block this, and it's not gonna kill him. So I will just end turn and not waste the situation. He's flashing in a defender. Okay, that's smart of him, because now I can't get by this with Vivi until Vivi gets stronger. There's the Relic Golem. I do not have enough to cast this, so I will counterspell the Relic Golem. Yep, Vivi gets bonus and plinks him. We can look at the top. We put it there. We knew we put it there. I will just leave that on our library right now. Alright, so from here, we have a choice to make. Do we look at the top 4? I think that's what we ultimately want to do. We can only use Vivi's ability during our turn. He has 3 on him. I don't feel like I have a choice. I think I do want to use this. I feel like I do want to use this. All right, so let's do this. Let's have VV do for the blue sources there. And then we have, so we did 3, 4, 5, 6. Cast this. 1, 2, there. He gets a +1/+1 counter. We shuffle everything. He gets 7 new cards. So do we. We get a land, which is good. That's what I was hopeful for. We'll drop that down now. Where that hurts us is several places. One, the Enigma Drake is now not as strong. And he got 7 cards, so he could have a counterspell or a removal that I just don't see. But the plus side is VV is now that much stronger. So we will end turn. Yes, that is what I want to do. And then we'll use, we'll untap a dual land. That way we have access to either. He's trying to bring out the Relic Golem yet again. So he can pay to have that. So I am going to let it come out. Is that what I want to do? I don't really feel like I have much of a choice. Yeah, we'll let it resolve. We'll let it resolve. There. And then this one we will counterspell. Oh no, we can't. We can't. I will not be able to do that. Right? Because it was creature spell, right? Target non-creature spell. Yeah, so I couldn't counterspell it anyway. So it's him and Han for no reason. If I click OK, I can still cancel this. We click OK. So now it's his end step. So now if I want to cast any instances, I should. I can do 4 damage to 1 creature. Or 1 damage to a lot of creatures. I could, in theory, do 4 damage to this and 2 damage and then take it out. That is probably the best place to play that. We'll click OK right now. All right. So let's do that. Let us do 4 damage to 1 creature. Right here. Target this. Now it's asking how I want to do this. Right there. Right there. So it did 4 damage to that. And then do 2 damage to that. 1 and a blue source right there. And BB gets that much stronger. And now that's gone. Now, I could have done this a little differently, but I wanted to get a flyer out here so that I could actually, you know what? I think I did play that wrong. If I got Voice of Duality, VV would have ramped way harder. So let's get Voice out now. We'll do the red source. We'll do the blue. And then we'll do this one right here. Voice of Duality. And then we'll actually cast Index. Using our duel here. And that will plink him even more. And VV will ramp that much more right there. Perfect. And then we get to look at the top 5 and reorder them. How do I want them? So, let's see. So we don't really need. This one is probably the one I want closest to the top. Jura N, Rune Diver, probably the next one. And then the rest can just go over. Lands and things like that are okay. We're pretty good with land right now. All right. And then we have 1 land left to play with, but we can't really do much with it. But I can attack with VV, and I will, so that he is either choosing to block and lose a creature, or lose the game. So he's choosing to block, which is understandable, which is what he should do. And then we'll end turn right here. Good. All right, drop the land. When deals combat damage, puts that many in their graveyard. Yep, so he's using a mill deck, which is very annoying. All right, deals 5 damage to a target creature, but we're going to win. We're going to win right now. So if I do VV, if I just do 4 and 4, right there, that's the better way to do it. Because if you didn't notice, I misplayed. I cast a spell and then clicked on VV, and all it did was pull the mana it needed from VV, and it's very specifically worded on here, only once each turn. So you want to use VV and these cards like him. You want to tap them and get the setup out, and you have your mana. Where is it? Right here, M. The mana, and you can see how it's broken out here. Okay. So let's click on this. So now we have the ability to cast instants and sorceries, or we have the ability to cast any spell that we want. We have 8 mana at our disposal. So I will cast Gandalf, and I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure, he's out. There's Gandalf right now. And then I will cast the instant right here, destroy. If you have a wizard, which we have 3, we get to do this, choose 1, but if we have a wizard, we get to do 2. So I can do draw 2 cards, target player draws 2 cards, and I get to destroy one of his creatures. So we will do that right there, and then right there, and then target player will be us, and then 5 damage to target creature. We will do the Mirror Drake right there, and then we will spend the last right there, and then he's dead because of how the deck is set up. You may tap or untap a target permanent. Gandalf does 3 damage to each opponent. Copy target spell. So I could copy that again, draw more cards, and kill another creature, or put Gandalf on the top of the library. I will do this one here, the 3 damage to each opponent. And then I get to pick another one. I will copy the spell, and then I will let it resolve. So I click OK. So they ramp up the Voice of Duality. Vivi does his ramp, and we do 1 damage every time. And then Gandalf, we'll do his draw to a target player. So we'll do this one. And then 5 damage to target creature. We will do this one. And then we will voice again, procs again, because we cast it twice, basically. So this is the first time that it resolves. Right there, we drew 2 cards. And now he's doing it again, and we won. That's why I love learning the game again and playing blue-red, because it's just so fun to see when you have the cards and they work. And that's the way Magic goes. That's the way Magic always goes. It's good when it's good. And when you don't get the mana, it sucks. It's terrible. Blue decks are also not everyone's ideal cup of tea. So just understand what you're getting into when you play the game. And yeah, fail. It's okay. You are allowed to fail. Let's see here. Counter target spell. Its controller puts the top 3 cards in the library. This is awesome. That's actually really awesome. So I want to keep that. I want to get that in our deck. This is Mantle of Tides. And +1/+1. Whenever you draw your second card, Mantle attaches to target creature. Not as helpful, so we'll flag that one to be sold. Wall of Air. Flying Defender. We don't really have a wall deck. Wall of Frost, we'll get rid of that. The Relic Golem, that's good if you have a player or a gameplay that's doing a mill style deck. So we'll hold on to that. Maybe we can do something with that. The Sphinx one works really well with that, so that's really good there. Pepper Wright, Public Reporter from the Fallout set. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we can investigate. That's actually pretty good if you do a clue deck or a token deck. A clue deck. That's pretty good, but I don't want to say I'm going to ever do that. Let's see here. Flying. Whenever a merfolk wind robber deals damage to a player, that player mills. Really helpful. Human wizard. Whenever answer, put top 3 in their graveyard. Again, a mill style deck. Delirium at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, that player puts the top 3. So this is like constantly milling them if we have Delirium in effect. And then Landfall. Whenever you have A land enters the battlefield under your control. A player mills 3 cards. That's actually, I've gone up against decks like that, the crab decks, and they're silly annoying. So I'm going to augment our deck here. It's just as easy as you might think it is. So you can search for cards, and I will put this right in our deck, add to deck, and then I will look over here. And then looking at this, didn't say please. How do I want to balance this out? This is counter target any spell at all. So how do I want to balance it? Do I want to remove a card? I think I do, but I'm not sure which one. That's going to be really hard. I think if I removed just one exclude, that would be pretty good, because this is target creature spell, but we do get to draw a card. I'm going to remove one. I'll put it in the sideboard. All right, cool. This was Busy Gamer Dad talking more about our live stream game. This is MTG Forge, Magic the Gathering Forge. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined so you can stay up to date with videos that we post and know when I go on live stream for this game and others. I hope to see you in our next episode, and we will pick up right where we left off. Later.